One of the things that sometimes people ask about or wonder about is, of course we have Buddha sitting there in the middle. He's our first teacher, and he's the person who kind of showed us the way historically. But Buddha is not a god. Buddha is not a prophet. Buddha is not an archangel. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
Just a regular old human being who happened to figure out a way of approaching life to reduce people's suffering. So even when we're bowing to the image there, it's not that we're bowing to God.
It's not like worship, it's something different. Yeah.
And in fact, the whole point of doing meditation and the practice that we do is to wake up to our own Buddha nature. So actually, I know Buddha. All the people are like. And so even when we're sort of paying some honor to the image, it's also saying we're honoring ourselves too in our own Buddha nature. People are often not very nice to themselves.
Right.
And so this idea that you're actually honoring yourself is a part of what's happening. We're starting to knock on that wood, which means we're sort of calling people into the window. So we'll exit for now. Hopefully people come in.
meeting everybody. This is teacher when she gets here. And sit comfortably. And in a few moments, we'll recite the Gatha on opening the sutra. Kata on opening the sutra. The Dharma in profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. A bit warm today, yeah? It was 102 in the parking lot that I was in today, so. You know, this problem of the climate changing and global warming is, I was at a talk that an geologist was giving, and he said that scientists now can call this a wicked problem because it's so complex. And especially in academia, all of the different departments that need to be talking to each other, like the geologist to the person who's studying literature, to the person who's doing ethics, to the person who's doing chemistry, that up until this point, they really haven't been talking to each other because they've been a little nervous to get out of their little academic zone. And of course, we can't afford to do that any longer. And I wonder and I hope, and my wish for our community is that we at least talk about it with each other. And every once in a while we do Earth Witness Ango, so that's a 3-month intensive study period. And it won't be this fall Ango coming up, but in the spring we're going to be doing another Earth Witness Ango to look at some of these issues, which are so profoundly close when you're walking around sweating, right? It's really hitting you. And there's something about our case tonight that speaks to that. That closeness. Both the concern and the problem and the solution. So let's look at that together tonight. This is case 20, so we're nearing about the middle of the Mumonkan, which is pretty impressive. And for those who are here for the first time tonight, I must present the grimoire. This is the book of antidotes to all of the spells cast by samsara. And right now, you could say we're on antidote number 20. So, koans are fascinating little creatures. And, well, let's just look at it and see what we see, and you'll see right away. So the case goes like this. Master Shogun said, "Why is it that a person of great strength, does not lift up their leg?" He also said, "It is not with the tongue that we speak." Let's read the whole thing together and then we'll look at it. So Mumon is the person who put this collection together called the Gateless Gate. And he usually has something to say about the cases. So this is called Mumon's commentary. It should be said that Shogun poured out all that he had in his intestines and belly. But there is nobody who can recognize this. However, even someone who realized this immediately would be given a bitter blow by me. Why? Look, if you want to know whether it is pure gold or not, you must look at it in the midst of fire, in the midst of the fire of your life in this moment. The verse, raising a leg, I upturn the scented ocean. Lowering my head, I look down on the 4 jhana heavens. There is no place to put this whole body. Please finish this poem in your own words. So you're getting a pretty good flavor of Zen practice. Some koans are a little bit more kind of narrative and perhaps slightly comprehensible by the normal rational mind, trying to look at a problem, solve the problem, and move the hell on, right, to the next problem. So fundamental to Zen practice is the realization that our dualistic mind, the mind that normally does the whole subject-object split to try to solve a problem, will never be able to comprehend our true nature. So that's why Zen puts such a premium on not going down the rational road, right? Because Zen is concerned with our essential nature, like cutting all the bull out before our parents were born. What is our original face? So you kind of have to have a little bit of a burning thing going on in your heart, because Zen doesn't give you a break. It's absolutely, unremittingly, relentlessly precise, and it will only open up for you if you do as you have been asked to do by the practice. And this is a little rough going right away. We don't really like this kind of approach to life. It seems perhaps a bit heavy-handed. I got my stuff here. I can work with this, right? And interestingly enough, we've been working on gathering materials for the Ango, which is going to be on samadhi, the womb of suchness, deep concentration. And I happened to come upon this foreword to a very early Zen text by Carl Jung. Does everybody know who Carl Jung is? Yes, I know the psychologists know who Carl Jung is. Well, for those who might be nodding your head this way, but you're not sure, you should maybe go sideways. Two really important psychologists in the early 20th century, you'd say, Freud and Jung. Now, Jung came after Freud. Just like the most stupid, roughest sketch that you have ever heard about the distinction between these two is something like this. For Freud, the unconscious is just a total cesspool. And you're lucky if you can, somehow manage some kind of relationship between the conscious, which gets you to be friends with people and function in the day and make it in the world, and your cesspool unconscious that's just filled with wild desires. And somehow you've got to get those two functioning together, and it's called, sometimes your superego gets in the way. It's complicated. It's very complicated to get those two parts of ourselves playing nicely with one another. So Jung comes along and says, oh no, it's not just a cesspool. There's actually some wholeness there. There's actually some kind of the pearl of our humanity. The best that we can be is actually lying in the unconscious of all of us. And we simply need to figure out how to nurture it, how to draw it out. Everybody has this unconditional love, this unconditional compassion, and this clarity of mind, right? So here's Jung, who's very interested now in Zen, because Zen comes along and says, hey, not only do we think you're right, we have a path. We have a training program to train the mind to be able to integrate this hidden gem that we all are born with. So that's a very rough sketch, and I apologize to the psychologists in the room. But anyway, here's what he said about Western people practicing Zen. Great as is the value of Zen Buddhism for the understanding of the religious transformation process, its use among Western people is very improbable. The spiritual conceptions necessary to Zen are missing in the West. Who amongst us would produce such implicit trust in a superior master and their incomprehensible ways? Who among us would put their trust in some crazy-ass koan about something that makes no sense? Right? This respect for the greater human personality exists only in the East. Isn't that interesting? This is quite damning of our capacities, is it not? I mean, for somebody who really believed in this fundamental goodness of our personhood. Let's see. Who could boast of believing in the possibility of a transformation experience paradoxical beyond measure? So you are in the midst of a transformational experience, paradoxical, beyond measure. So that's pretty scary. There's absolutely nothing to hold on to. You have to kind of take the golden leap. Actually, one of the new Jukai members, her name is Golden Leap, right? We all take this golden leap into our essential nature. And willingly put ourselves in the fire of this paradoxical beyond measure. This question really is, are you willing to put yourself in the fire of the paradoxical beyond measure? I submit to you, what we got going right now, politically, socially, ecologically, is already paradoxical beyond measure, is it not? I mean, it is crazy town out there. Things just are not making sense. So I put that out there. To the extent, moreover, of sacrificing many years of their life to the wearisome pursuit of enlightenment. So that's it. You're actually saying, I'm willing to totally wear myself out. I'm willing to totally wear out this way of life that I've had so far that has not brought me any peace, that has not brought me any clarity, that has made me kind of an angry person even though I don't want to be, and has stopped me from being loving in the ways that I've really, really wanted to be. I'm willing to wear myself out. I'm willing to wear that obstructive part of myself down and out, no matter what it takes. Is that true for you? This is, Zen practice, the samurais loved Zen practice, and you can see why. Because it asks so much of you. It asks each one of us to live on that razor's edge, to be that warrior, to sacrifice many years of our life. Oh, here we go. And finally, who would dare to take upon themselves the authority of a heterodoxical transformation experience? In other words, who would dare try to be a guide in this wildly free-form kind of way of transformation? Who would dare do that? Because the risk of injury, the risk of getting it wrong, the risk of more confusion is so high. But here's the thing, I will tell you, what Jung didn't know when he said that was that the teacher, the guide, has been through decades and decades and decades of training. So it actually isn't heterodoxical. It's actually very structured and organized. In fact, it has to be that way so that we can completely take the guardrails off and enter into this seemingly irrational moment of a person of great strength who could very easily lift their leg. can't lift their leg. Right? We have to, well, first of all, the guide has to have been able to demonstrate their direct experience of what that is. And I can guarantee you that anybody who's guiding you here at the Buddhist Temple of Toledo has done that over and over and over again. Oh, this is great. Let it be a person of little trustworthiness, one who, maybe from pathological reasons, has too much to say for themselves. Such a person would have no cause to complain of any lack of following among us. But if the master sets a hard task, which requires more than a lot of parrot talk, the European begins to have doubts. For the steep path of self-development is to him as mournful and dark as hell. So, I think we're proving Jung wrong, are we not? Which is kind of fun, actually. I think he'd be really happy, actually. I think he'd be really surprised, very surprised. Okay, so having said all of that, let's just talk a little bit about the koan. Why is it that a person of great strength does not lift up their leg? So there's a couple of things here. You have to, with a koan, it's asking you to come deeply inside the dreamscape of the koan. So you get very intimate with this person of great strength who paradoxically can't lift their leg. Why would you bother to do that? And how do you even do that? You know, some people ask that question, why would I bother to do that? And the answer is, I have no idea, and I'm not really that interested. And that's okay. That's okay. But for the person who hears this question and knows that this question has something to do with my essential nature, and if I can penetrate into the depths of this question, the tradition tells me that my life will be changed, that I will be freer in my body, regardless of how strong or how weak I am. I will be freer in my body, regardless of whether I can lift my leg or not. That's interesting. That's worth exploration. The interesting thing about working with the koan is you have to kind of wait for it to invite you in. Isn't that interesting? It's not something you tackle down and that you're going to, analyze to death and you're going to get the best of it. Never. You you actually kind of stand hat in hand in the midst of this unrelenting paradox. And you keep leaning into like, I know there's something here for me. What is that? What is that? And the more you, with deep humility and also profound deep curiosity about our essential nature, about our Buddha nature, knowing that this question has something to do with that. And you have to take that on faith in the beginning, because it's not obvious. When the koan feels like you've worn away enough of your samsaric ego, enough of the grasping part of you, enough of the greedy part of you, enough of the angry part of you, then it begins to show its face. Because you are so absorbed in this relationship with the koan. Oftentimes I say you put your hand into the hand of the koan and you let it carry you and show you what's happening. And I can assure you it is profoundly healing and also profoundly interesting. And all along the way, you're sort of carried by this deep paradox. Sometimes they say the Dharma is like the boat that carries you to the other shore. Koan is like this boat that carries you to the other shore into your true and essential Buddha nature. Why is it that the person of great strength does not lift up their leg? We have to have the courage and the humility to say, I have no idea what's going on, and it's okay, right? I'm going to trust this process. Mumon's commentary. It should be said that Shogun poured out all that he had in his intestines and belly. So he showed his, I have to roll back. So these questions, why is the person of great strength not able to lift up their leg? And why is it that it's not with the tongue that we speak? He had a third question too, which was, why is it that the bodhisattva can't sever the red thread? And the red thread is kind of a symbol for emotional connection, sexuality, relationship, all those things that give us a lot of issues. So he had these three questions. And when he wanted to transmit to somebody when he was getting older, he took these three questions and he set them to his monks. And sadly for him, not one of those monks could answer all three questions. So he died without transmitting the Dharma. And I have to tell you, for like a Zen master, to not have someone or many ones to transmit the Dharma to, that is like, oh, dude, what did I do wrong? I really screwed up. Right? This is not a good thing. But nevertheless, that was his life. Right? And that his lineage lay dormant for many decades. And finally, the emperor found a master from another temple and asked him to go to his monastery and revive the line because he felt it was a very important line. You can see how like classically straight on Shogun was as a Zen master. I mean, like just that relentless paradoxical question. So eventually his line was sort of reconstituted, or the discontinuity was connected. And the folks from his line actually ended up founding this really important temple in Japan called Daitokuji. And it's something like, it's in Kyoto, it's got like 53 acres. I think it's probably like a worldwide heritage site. It's a really important temple. Remember during World War II, when the United States was figuring out what to bomb in Japan, they did not bomb Kyoto because it was such an important world historical site. So that's an interesting side note there. Interestingly, our line comes from the competing temple, Sojuji. So picture this, like Daitokuji is sort of like Harvard, and Sojuji is kind of like Yale, and they're always kind of duking it out, but that would be a fun story for another time. So all that is a prelude to the next line, but there is nobody who can recognize this. So he showed his Zen face, and none of his students could recognize it. However, even someone who has realized this immediately would be given a bitter blow by me. And this is another more classic Zen, right? Why? Look, if you want to know whether it is pure gold or not, you must look at it in the midst of fire. So in this case, in the midst of the fire of these blows. You know, where is your Zen now? Right? Where is it? Where is your Zen when you're getting hit with a stick that does not exist? All right. The verse, raising a leg, I upturn the scented ocean. Lowering my head, I look down on the four jhana heavens. There is no place to put this whole body. Please finish this poem in your own words. That's the most important line. Please finish this poem in your own words, from your own experience, from your own breast, from inside your own intestines. This place that there is no place to put this whole body. This wholeness that Jung spent his life trying to reveal and heal. So, why is it that a person of great strength does not lift up their leg? This not lifting up the leg is so important. Why is it that the person that is completely sick and on death's door is not sick and will not die? This is the same question. Why is it that the person who is completely depressed and just has given up on life, not completely depressed and not given up on life? How is it that those two things coincide? this is really serious business. This is about our life. This not part, this not part is really pointing us to that part of us that we are, that was not born, that will not die, that has never been hurt in the face of a life where humans are born and die and get hurt. This is very intimate, mystical practice. May we all take it up.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Welcome to our visitors. Are there any announcements? I have one. My name is Kensei. I don't work with the microphone too well. Sangha circles, well, first Ango is coming soon, a couple weeks. You'll be getting an email with lots of details and some new exciting things happening this Ango, all in that email. Look for that. But for my bit, sign up for a Sangha circle. All temple members are encouraged to join one of these small groups. They meet a couple times during Ango in people's homes. It's a really great opportunity to get to know people, especially if you're only come on Sundays or only come on Wednesdays. You get to like mingle with the other people, and it's really great. So registration is open until September 3rd, and you got an email link, and I'll be posting it on Facebook soon also. So, thank you. Good job, Joy. Anything else? Please restore the Zendo.
Usually this is that close.
A little bit scary also. Yeah, like there's so many. Oh,
Like I like told you on Wednesday nights, the talk, the sermon, it'll work out. She was reading from koans. I don't know if you know what a koan is. So many new vocabulary that you learn when you come here. The koan is sometimes described as like a Zen Buddhist. You may have heard of it. You know what the sound of chewing is? What's the sound like? Ponder on that. So what she was telling me was she's talking about, who is the man of great experience? It's like, that is in koan in the Zen Buddhism. You can't control the rational mind. So Wednesday nights, usually, if there is a talk, like this night, it's on Zen koan. It's very Zen. It's in the more of a Zen side. On Sundays, it's a different vibe for them. It's usually fuller. There's kids here, and talks on Sundays are kind of more general Buddhist. Okay, let's talk about compassion. Talk about what's going on in the world and how as Buddhists, we need to be out there helping people. So the Sunday sermons are kind of more open. Often have a lot of people on Sunday. On Wednesdays, you get a special treat. You get one of these Zen talks. And sometimes these kind of talks are described as dark behind, but radiant to the heart. And I know there's more than one Wednesday night when I walked down the road. I don't really know what they were talking about, but I feel better. So that's something I see something I could then do something to me, even though I can't rationally, figure it out. It's kind of what the talk was tonight. It's Zen koan. And you might have had that experience where I don't really understand this, but it seems cool. It's fine. That's actually good. If you're trying to always figure things out with your rational mind, kind of what you're saying, you're actually going to miss the ultimate way to slip into that stillness. What is this coolest? That's really great. That's kind of what a Zen koan helps you do, is drop your rational mind. Oh, she said almost integrating the dreams. Yeah. So, questions, comments, feedback, thoughts? I always have to on a scale of 1 to 10, how weird was it? Or 1 is not weird at all, and 10 is like,
I can't remember the jump of the
I'll see you. Oh, yeah.
And also, I really love what you said. I would like
I was like, we always say
And then the other thing is that, also, you probably heard this too, it was some of the podcasts that we often talk about in Zen is the
that was so funny.
that was so
How long has it been?
We always say it's every time you see this practice, really a meditation,
To go on this 50 degrees in the
I'm always going to have to go with that bigger things. It's not fun.
It seems like
I don't know mine.
So.
Oh, it would have been an executive place. But until they told that story, they said, I actually don't know what happened. And then suddenly, the whole universe, so you have to actually get down, like it's great, I know everything, I think I got it all figured out, and just say, I don't know, I'm starting. So that's a good place, beginner's mind. Other thoughts, you guys? Questions?
You know, range, you know, like our session was you know, what I'm expressing, Rangers, but I saw one of them.
I thought it was
Oh, yes, all your things. So, it was a little bit more.
So you never done
Is this forest on here? It's not that line, so I've always been like forest hazing. So it's where you go out to the forest, and you're just, again, you're just there with what is, whether it's raining, whether it's sunny, but you're
Snowing.
yeah, you're in tune with what is there. There's things that you do it's not my house, it's police officers. Police officers. No one has been in technical stuff, but we were talking about the science of mindfulness and the practice of mindfulness and how allowing yourself to sort of sit down or use the processes and just do the moment can change everything. And we was doing the processing of the brain and officers without control. And he said, you know, it was so eat this, miserable, cold, shaky. And then I remembered what we said, and I breathed in, centered myself, I thought about the fact that my feet are grounded. And then I just started really paying attention to what was there. And he said, you know, I was watching those snowflakes. They were beautiful, and they would come across the light field stadium. And then they would land on my nose, and it just shifted everything. So here's a police officer. So sorry for getting that story. You just remind me of this police officer had a moment where you could sit there, oh, I hate my life, I hate this. And instead, he had this beautiful mindful moment about this is a beautiful moment, and even in the crowd and the noise, it was in the silence. It was always there, but he didn't, you know, so yeah, forest there.
Yeah, she did, they thought, you know,
They don't even know.
a lot, so like, she knows a lot. Like, and in the street, she was like, she actually asked me what it's for, like, yeah, go ahead, that's free, like, so, there's this little tree, and actually tomorrow, we're gonna go to this
What
tree.
park are you at?
Botanical gardens.
Oh, you were at dinner there.
Yes. Yep, and they're
Oh, yeah,
they're more like
beautiful.
hoity-toity, kind of, you know, button up, kind of, please don't touch that. And so for them to be like, no, go on the stream, you know, if you guys all flush out the after, there's this beautiful, like, that goes over the, like, food, and the first thought that I had was, I was like, over that, and I saw like, oh, man, it's on the
So
stream.
you're like building your
Yes, like, oh my God, go in the street once, so, yeah, so, yeah, just like, it's just how we are. Yeah, no way over here.
Hey, guys.
Come here by yourself tonight, it's a major accomplishment.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I've come to this, kind of, and you know, me first. Things like this, I stress out.
Well, we all struggle with, you know, the study I talked about in class, where they took people.
It's not a long
Or running
Not
a
long,
line,
and
and it's supposed to be a study on learning, and then they're going to use shocks to, like, punish you if you didn't learn something right. But they put them in and they fixed them up, and it was a real shock machine. It wasn't going to kill them, but it was painful. And they just let them alone and were running behind. And then they just wanted to see what people would do, left to their own devices, just by themselves in a quiet space. And especially the men, some of the women as well, couldn't stand to just be their own mind body with nothing to do until they would shock themselves. So rather than just be, they let them walk. And so that's, we don't know, the untrained mind doesn't know those things.
Please don't like that's big.
So that's what it's all about, it's mind training of how to just actually be in the life, starting with just and then grow that, expand that out to the rest of your life.
Great job.
She said she was low barb. That looks like regular
And it's practice. And it gets easier to refresh. Just one that. Well, I don't know if you guys know. You might want to try coming on a Sunday if it's available to you, just to see how the vibe is. And
To come together, just look like just sort of see what's going on and try to follow.
exactly. So unfortunately, we didn't get to come in while they were meditating, but what we did back there is exactly what we did here. They'll say, actually, prepare for Zazen on Sunday.
Oh, you're
They did meditation, and they'll see everybody come up, down, and they usually kind of do this thing where they sort of brush off their cushion, and sometimes it's because it's actually a little bit there. But most of that kind of behavior is like, let's do this mindfully. So it's like, I'm not just going to top down. Again, that is, I'm going to do this. But you're in mind, and so I'm going to put my cushion here. There's another reason to do that too, because it's kind of a homage to the monks of old.
Specifically on the night.
So it's also kind of, remember that, what? It's not just basic on nutrition. There have been many women going back 2,600 years that still sat on this cushion to try and do exactly what I need to do, which is realize.
It's always similar.
It's all over the place. There's no
compassion, compassion. So, yes, Sunday you come in, there'll be a period of seated meditation, then there'll be walking meditation, which we didn't get to tonight, but you'll see you all stand up, and I'll say prepare for walking meditation. And we do a very mindful walking meditation where we start with our hands together, and we use these, you heard the bells. The bells are a really signal to people, like it's time to do that, it's time to chant, or this is the end of the meditation period. Sometimes we use a couple of ruby sticks and we clap them together, and you'll hear a clap, and then people will bow, and then they'll turn, and they'll clap again, and then they'll start walking. They'll be walking very slowly. Sometimes they'll breathe out, and they'll take just that step. They'll breathe in, they'll breathe out, and they'll take another step. And we use a different hand position.
Thank you for taking care of our cushions.
Thumb around their non-dominant, and we kind of make this sort of fist, and then pull it in right at the top. This is another mudra, it's called Shu. And so we're walking very mindfully, synchronizing with the breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, and we do that for about 10 steps or so, and then we'll do the clappers again, and it's going to just follow people, they'll start walking quickly, and we kind of do this sneaky time here. And we just walk mindfully. So again, you'll see things, you'll get pulled away from it, hear things, but you're still actually keeping, you're focusing and teaching in that follow. So, the next time you come back, we could do seated meditation and walking meditation, as well as the chanting, which is kind of, and there are chant booklets that I should have given you so that you can follow along. And the chant will usually say, turn to page 2. Some of the chants will make sense, some of them will go, this is in Japanese. Okay. But so again, sort of an homage to our when we introduce some chants, like ancient Sanskrit or Japanese. And over time, these